Okay, so the AI revolution is obviously here. It's changing, well, everything. But there's this massive hidden problem, a hunger for power that's pushing our physical world to the brink. We're going to dive into why that is.
So you gotta ask, right? How much power does an AI revolution actually take? The answer? Well, it's pretty staggering, and it's forcing some really big players in the tech world to rethink everything.
Get this, 9%. By 2030, that's how much of all U.S. electricity data centers are projected to be eating up, and that's mostly because of AI's explosive growth. To put that in perspective, that's more juice than a lot of entire countries use. It's a lot.
So yeah, this isn't just some boring number on a spreadsheet. That 9% figure, it's the reason some of the biggest companies on the planet are being forced to make this huge, multi-billion-dollar gamble on where we're going to get our power from. Okay, so to really get why we're at this crossroads, we have to go back a bit. We need to talk about the magic trick that powered computers for like 50 years, and then why that magic suddenly just vanished. All right, for a long, long time, the whole game was driven by something called Dennard scaling. You can think of it as the ultimate free lunch for computing. The deal was, as you made transistors smaller, they also got faster and used less power. It was amazing, a total win-win-win that made things like Moore's Law possible. But then, right around 2006, that free lunch ended. Bam, progress just slammed into a wall. Dennard scaling broke down. See, when the transistors got too small, things like current leakage and heat just became massive problems. From that point on, making chips faster meant they got way, way hotter and just devoured power. We literally hit what engineers call the power wall. So you've got this situation, right? AI needs more and more power, but our chips have hit this physical limit. So what do you do if you're one of the biggest tech companies in the world? Where do you turn? Well, the answer they came up with is, it's bold. And honestly, for a lot of people, it's pretty surprising. They're going nuclear. And look, this isn't some little side project. We're talking about massive, gigawatt-scale commitments. You've got Meta, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, the Big Four. They're all in, signing these huge deals to buy nuclear energy. I mean, they're even helping restart old reactors, like at 3 Mile Island. This is a huge shift in strategy. And the long game, their big vision, it all centers on these things called small modular reactors, or SMRs for short. The whole idea here is to have these smaller, advanced reactors that you can build in a factory. They'd provide that super reliable, carbon-free, always-on power that a giant AI data center absolutely has to have. Okay, so that sounds perfect, doesn't it? A clean, powerful solution for AI's massive energy problem. But there's a catch, a really big one. It's this fundamental clash between two very different worlds moving at very different speeds. And this quote from a guy named Tony Grayson, who, get this, was a nuclear submarine commander before he started building data centers, he just nails the problem perfectly. He said, GPUs move in 3-year cycles, reactors move in decades. And that's the whole issue right there. The AI world moves at a ridiculous speed. New chips, new models, new data centers, they need them now, in months or maybe a couple of years. But the nuclear world, it moves slow. And for very good safety reasons, right? Everything is on these painstaking decade-plus timelines. So you've got AI screaming for power by 2028, but the first of these cool new SMRs, we probably won't see them until the 2030s, maybe even later. Yeah, getting a new reactor up and running it's not like pushing a software update. You have to go through this whole gauntlet with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And every single step, getting the design certified, getting the location approved, and then actually building the thing, each one of those takes years. You just can't rush it.
And honestly, even if you could magically speed up all that paperwork, you hit an even bigger problem, the fuel. A lot of these advanced SMRs need a special fuel called HALEU. And right now, the US doesn't really have a big supply chain to make it. You know who the main supplier was? Russia. So yeah, that's a major bottleneck.
Okay, so if getting more power is this huge, decade-long challenge, what do you do? Well, what if the answer isn't just about finding more juice, but about changing how we compute in the first place?
And that brings us to something that sounds straight out of science fiction, optical computing. So instead of shoving electrons through silicon wires, what if you used photons, actual particles of light, to process information? The whole point is to completely leapfrog that power wall we talked about.
The difference here is just fundamental. Electrons have to push through wires, they hit resistance, that creates heat, and that's the power wall. But photons, they just cruise at the speed of light. Almost no resistance, which means almost no heat. I mean, we're talking about a potential for a crazy leap forward in both speed and efficiency.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. What do we have? We have a massive, undeniable power problem. We have a powerful solution, nuclear, that moves at a snail's pace. And then we have this super futuristic idea that's still way out on the horizon.
What's really clear is that we are in a massive, high-stakes race. On one side, you have AI, and its demand for power is just growing exponentially. It seems unstoppable. And on the other side, you have the cold, hard physical limits of our energy grid and the good old silicon chips that we've been using for 50 years.
And that leaves us with this one final, really important question. As we look ahead, is it possible that the future of AI won't be decided by who has the smartest algorithms or the biggest data sets, but simply by who can plug into the most power?